Alright, what's going on everyone out there on YouTube? NES Ruler. And welcome to a brand new review. And this time around, we will be checking out a film that was sent to me review by Radiance. And you can pick this up on Blu-ray at all your favorite online retailers. It is a French film from the year 1976. It is the buddy road comedy titled Fill Her Up with Super. So this is a really interesting film. You know, during the mid-70s, France would put out a lot of these road buddy comedy kind of films, and this is one of the more unknown ones that have become kind of popular as the years have gone on, and it's kind of been rediscovered. It's a really interesting movie that deals with masculinity and feeling confident in your own skin and things like that. So basically we follow these four guys in two pairs. We got a pair of two who are buddies and another pair of two which are buddies. And we are first introduced to our first pair of two. One is a used car salesman, if you like to say that. And the other one is a nurse at a hospital. And one day the used car salesman gets a ultimatum from his boss that he has to drive one of his more wealthier client's car from the southern tip of France to the northern tip of France, or the other way around. It's about a 1,000-kilometer drive, and he either drives his car or he loses his job. So he reluctantly agrees to do this, and he brings along his buddy who is a nurse, and along their journey they pick up a hitchhiker, which is one of the other pairs of buddies that we meet in this movie, and he brings along his friend, and it's just them going from the southern tip to the northern tip to drop off this car. And along the way we learn more about these characters and their understandings of what it means to be a man in society in the mid-1970s. You know, they're young. They're like 25 to 30 years old, all of them. Our first two pair of buddies, one of them is having problems with his girlfriend. He can't have kids, and it is jeopardizing their relationship. And then the other person, his buddy, is dealing with his sexuality. He's bisexual, but he's trying to find his footings with his sexuality. And then the two other buddies that we learn later on in the film, both of them are having relation problems. One of them is having an issue with his child's mother, and the other one is having just a hard time finding a relationship at all. And along the way, it's just a moments kind of a film where we spend the whole film with these four characters as they drive this car. And along the way, we see moments that make them think about their lives and who they are as men in this world. It's an interesting film. Is it all that entertaining? No. It is funny at some points. These four characters spend a lot of time together, obviously, and it takes some time to get going where you are comfortable with the characters and each one and their quirks and their traits. But as the movie goes on, ultimately it gets pretty funny and entertaining. It doesn't have much of a purpose besides character development and learning who these characters are. But it's okay. It's a conversation film. A lot of these French films, you know, a lot of them are heavy dialogue, heavy character-based kind of films. And this one definitely takes the cake when it comes to that. If you just don't like spending time with characters, talking and learning who they are, then you're probably not going to like this film pretty much. But if you like deep character kind of pieces with a little bit of subtext about masculinity in France in the mid-1970s, then you're probably going to dig this film. Radiance, you know, has become one of my favorite companies, newer companies that have just started releasing films here in the U.S. This year. And this is what they're like the third or fourth release so far here in the States. Super interesting film. Really nice package. They're known for their nice deluxe packages. Each one comes like this little side piece that talks about all the features, and then you have a nice booklet that talks about the film and the making of the film and everything like that. This movie was made in a really interesting way. I'll get into that in a second after we talk about the packaging. You got your disc, and then you got the original French poster art there. So this movie was made in a really interesting way. It was directed by a pretty famous French director. He would work on a lot of big French productions, and then one day he just came to a realization that all these big productions are nothing but bullshit, and it wasn't really tickling his artistic bug. So he went on to make some of these smaller films, and basically he just met these 4 guys who were at an acting school, and they basically got together and they wrote this movie. And it was just basically them 4 and the sound guy and the cameraman and the director just driving around in the car for real, making this movie. And you would think, oh, that probably was a lot of a lot of it must have been improvised, that they were just like 7 guys driving around in a car shooting this film. But ultimately, no, a lot of it that I've learned from the features, a lot of it was actually scripted, thought out, and written by each individual, wrote their own part. So it was really interesting the way that this film came together. There's a great like 29, 30-minute feature on this from a film critic who talks a little bit more about the history of this film and the actors and everything like that. It's really interesting. I'll talk about some more of the other features. There's a lot on here, so I'm going to have to read the back. So like I said, you got that 30-minute featurette that I just talked about. And then you have some more short films from the director, some interviews and things like that. And then you got the original mono track in French, and then like I said, you get this nice 40-page color booklet. So ultimately, it's an interesting character piece. I don't see it being rewatched anytime soon, but as a one-time watch, it was interesting enough that it held my interest. And it's just another really good release from Radiance. It looks good, sounds great. At least 4 or 5 releases so far that I've watched all have had really good technical aspects to it. So this one doesn't disappoint again. So that is my review of Filler Up with Super from 1976. If you guys like this review, please give it a thumbs up. And as always, you can follow me on Twitter at twitter.com/NESWorld22. Hope everybody is doing well, and I shall talk to you guys soon. See you guys.